Killing is obviously bad, and no one likes a murderer. Combat sports have always been a dangerous sport, mostly due to the injuries that come with each fight. Some end up being minor, with only a few cuts and bruises, and others are very bad, even threatening a fighter's career. However, some have cost the lives of fighters, and that is what we will be looking at right here in this video. Stick with us to find out all the MMA fighters who have killed someone. Carlos Iraburo. Death in the ring is one thing no fighter or spectator plans for, yet it happens, and when it does, it turns a good fight into the darkest day of the fighter's life. That is what happened with Carlos Iraburo. The same could be said for Michael KIRKHAM, who entered the ring with big dreams and never got the chance to live that dream. When it was announced that 30-year-old Michael KIRKHAM would be taking part in a fight at the Dash Entertainment King MMA confrontation at the Convocation Center, no one had expected that it would go the way that it did. His opponent, Carlos Iraburo, took him down to the mat within seconds of his debut as a professional. He was hit on the back of the head several times by Iraburo before the referee stopped the fight only 41 seconds in. It turned out that KIRKHAM had lost consciousness and did not recover from the blows. He would die 2 days after the fight due to subarachnoid hemorrhage of the brain. There was speculation that KIRKHAM's last bout had also ended in TKO, and issues lingered from that fight itself. KIRKHAM had been knocked out in his final amateur fight on April 24, 2010. This led Dr. Joe ESTWANIK, the former medical advisor to the North Carolina Boxing Authority, to suggest this could have been second impact syndrome. To avoid situations like this, combat sporting authorities can normally suspend a fighter longer than the normal 45 days, with 30 days of no contract, for a knockout after tests. However, that didn't happen in Michael KIRKHAM's case. KIRKHAM's MMA fight occurred 63 days after his final amateur bout. The event happened in June 2010, when South Carolina MMA rules were still in their infancy. There was just a 30-day rule for knockouts in effect. Following KIRKHAM's demise, the South Carolina Athletic Commission reviewed combat sport rules to change the suspension period to 60 days for knockouts and 30 days for technical knockouts. That took effect in 2012. Ricky MUSE. Ricky MUSE entered the ring for his fight, hoping to win and nothing else. But, as fate would have it, that wasn't all that happened. This incident occurred in the fight between Ricky MUSE and 37-year-old Daunte White. Daunte White fought MUSE and lost the already sanctioned amateur heavyweight bout by TKO in the second round. This happened at an event titled Hard Rock MMA 90 on July 16, 2017. The case of Daunte White's passing is the most recent passing of a fighter taking part in a sanctioned fight. Not only was the fight sanctioned, but White also passed a physical the day of the fight. It was his first bout since 2015, and unfortunately for the amateur fighter, it was his last. It was later revealed that he should not have been fighting in the first place, as he had already been diagnosed with high blood pressure and had not been taking medicine for it. How he passed the physical is a question that has since gone unanswered. After the fight, he collapsed backstage and was taken to an ambulance where he died. He arrived at St. Mary and Elizabeth Hospital with no pulse and was pronounced dead at 9:02 p.m. The cause of his death was ruled as hypertensive heart disease, as confirmed by the autopsy. KERON Davies. Like the other people I have mentioned previously in this video, South African fighter KERON Davies got ready for his fight only hoping for a win. Little did he know that his opponent wasn't leaving the ring on his 2 feet. His opponent, Bodo Goilane, was a Congolese fighter with one other fight under his belt when he decided to participate in this fight in Johannesburg, South Africa on the 27th of February 2014. Just like any other fighter who had previously suffered a loss, Bodo Goilane was looking to pick up some momentum and help his mixed martial arts career with a win here after his last fight ended in a defeat for him. Unfortunately for him, his fight with KERON Davies proved to be his last fight of all time. Bodo Goilane experienced a head injury during his fight against KERON Davies during the third round. He was stabilized immediately and taken to the hospital for more treatment. Although the situation looked hopeful to begin with, there was nothing that could be done to save him. He died a week later due to complications related to the swelling of the brain. Vince Lombardi. Unlike most of the events discussed in this video, this one happens to be quite different in that it took weeks for the victim to be confirmed dead. What started as a great fight between two amazing fighters ended up being the first casualty in MMA history in North America. The fight started out normally on October 20th, 2007. During a Renegades Extreme Fighting show at the Toyota Center in Houston between Vince Lombardi and Sam Vasquez. And Vasquez took a flurry of punches from Lombardi. What ended it was a hard right to his chin, causing Vasquez to collapse in the ring, and the fight was ended at 2 minutes 50 seconds of the third round. The EMT worked on him in the ring for several minutes as he suffered what appeared to be a seizure. Vasquez was rushed to St. Joseph Medical Center, where he stayed until moving to hospice care. The doctors found that he had suffered a subdural hemorrhage, and a part of his skull had to be removed to allow the brain to swell without it being compressed or pressurized in any way. Extra swelling led to the placement of a tube to allow his cerebral spinal fluid to be drained out of the cavities in the brain to make more room for the swelling. Vasquez's condition worsened from there. 2 weeks after being admitted, he had the first of 2 surgeries to relieve the pressure of a large clot in his brain, then had a massive stroke 5 days later and was placed in a medically induced coma for about 3 weeks until his death. Vasquez's death was officially ruled as a one resulting from complications of blunt trauma of the head with a subdural hemorrhage. Being the first death from injuries sustained in sanctioned mixed martial arts competition in North America, many critics used this opportunity to lobby for the sport to be banned. Before then, MMA was considered highly controversial, and a group of critics led by Senator John McCain pushed for it to be banned in several states in the mid to late 1990s and compelled cable companies not to air its pay-per-view events. In the coming years, the sport exploded in popularity due to television exposure of UFC, the sport's major league franchise. UFC's success has spawned hundreds of smaller promotions around North America, with many states now holding more MMA events than boxing events. FRANZ Barrera. What makes this particular fight completely different from the others is that this fight was an unsanctioned bout. This means that a recognized promotion didn't prepare it, nor was it certified by the state. It was basically an amateur fight with inadequate medical preparation and unchecked fighters in some back alley. Another thing that makes this fight different is that the victim, Mike MITTELMEIER, won his fight, but still got knocked out regardless. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start from the beginning. Both MITTELMEIER and Barrera already had successful careers in amateur fighting, and they were expected to fight in an unsanctioned bout in Bolivia. However, during the fight, an incident occurred when both were lying on the ground. After taking down Barrera and applying a leg lock, Barrera illegally kicked Mike in the head with the heel of his foot, knocking him out. The fight was stopped, and Mike was announced as the winner after Barrera was disqualified. A few seconds later, when it was time to announce the final result of the fight, Mike collapsed, and they had to transfer him to an emergency medical center. There was no space, so they had to transfer him to the Morales Clinic, where he was initially operated on, and it was established that he had a cerebral hemorrhage. Allegations were made stating that the promoters did not provide any form of medical assistance for the fight. With no health professional standing by, it took a long time before Mike could be transferred to a hospital. After being diagnosed with cerebral hemorrhage, he became comatose, from which he later passed on. The fight organizers stated that everything was due to misfortune, since it is an extreme sport where the fighters are exposed to serious injuries, just like in Mike's case. We would like to hear your thoughts about this topic. Hit us up in the comments section below, and give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more MMA videos. Bye for now.